Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Thursday, April 6th. So welcome to the full moon day. Of course, many of us had that full moon peak last evening, depending on where it is that you live. Regardless, we are kicking off Thursday with the peak full moon energies. And of course, it's taking place in Libran energy. If you haven't listened to the astro forecast, if you haven't listened to your zodiac forecast, and you haven't downloaded your moon guide, you should probably get on that. We have a very interesting opportunity here today with the full moon in Libra. Of course, it is the very first full moon of this new solar year, this new solar calendar, and the last full moon before we move into eclipse season and retrograde season. The Libran energy, of course, represented by the scales. We are definitely noticing where things in our lives are dysfunctional, chaotic, and a little bit out of whack, especially where our personal relationships are concerned. And we're reeling it in. We are definitely taking a good look at where we have to kind of put forth a new extra effort into balancing out the areas of our lives that are in extremes. And that starts with the relationship that you have with yourself, really balancing the light and dark, so to speak. Of course, that light and dark theme came in with the equinox energy that Aries season kicks off. That is what the equinox is all about, is trying to restore the scales to a balanced state. And this full moon in Libra is definitely going to continue those topics and themes and really kind of push us into a new level of awareness on what needs to be done in order for us to make peace with certain topics and themes, to harmonize and blend our energies with the world around us, and to rebalance the unfair scales in our energy exchanges with particular relationships. So, of course, unpack all of the information that I've put out there that will keep you ahead of the game, so to speak. And here today, we're definitely going to explore a lot of emotions, a lot of thoughts. We have a very wild energy kind of throwing us around in this Aries season. And no doubt the full moon is definitely going to amplify that. So we will see the moon go void, of course, at 8:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And here's the kicker. We're not locking in to Scorpio energy until the wee hours, Friday, April 7th, which makes for a very long day of having the moon be void, which is very shaky, very unstable, and kind of a contradiction to this whole Libran energy, which is supposed to be achieving balance. So you're definitely going to feel out of whack. You're going to feel the tug of war, the push and pull all over the place. There are 9 different aspects here today, and 8 of them involve the moon. The moon is going to oppose and sit across from the sun, Chiron, and Jupiter. Now, we explored this in the moon guide, this trio sitting very close to each other in this Aries energy. And of course, the moon in Libra is across from the Aries energy. So we are definitely seeing the polarization of our wounds, of our pain, of our trauma, of our suffering, and where it is that we have to actively work towards growing, improving, being better, healing. And of course, we just had the sun and Chiron, that annual conjunction here yesterday, which kind of closes the door on the last healing chapter, levels us up to new growth, new levels of healing and transformation, and really putting into perspective who it is that we now are as we've integrated some of those past pain, trauma experiences, how we've done the shadow work to balance the scales. Again, very Libran topics and themes. And this, I would say, it's never supposed to feel good in an opposition. It definitely isn't going to feel good with Chiron, the wounded healer there, exposing our wounds. And it is really not going to feel good to have Jupiter, the great magnifier, shining a bright light on those wounds and on the, I'm going to say, opportunities for us to heal and improve from there. Mercury, who again just shifted into Taurus energy just a couple of days ago. Take a listen to that astro forecast if you haven't already. Comes up to, bumps into, sits next to the North Node. That, of course, is in Taurus energy as well. This is a beautiful time to open up our mind space, to shift our perspective, to understand what it is that we have to learn, even understand what it is that we have to teach others. We are in a reciprocal type of energy here, recognizing that we can be both the teacher and the student. And especially when it comes to our personal relationships, again, full moon and Libra topics and themes, we really do have to kind of take turns in that leadership role, in that teacher role, and in that student role. We are speaking very deliberately, having the conversations that are worthy of our time, energy, and attention. Again, all very Mercury in Taurus topics and themes. The North Node, of course, is trying to get us on the right path, the soul path that we need to be on to reach our soul's mission, purpose, and potential. And there is a high probability here under the full moon in Libra, really focused on relationships and connections, especially with Mercury aligning with the North Node here. There's a high probability that we're making some connections with people of like mind, have the same kind of perspective, understanding, ideas as us. We could even find ourselves being stimulated, activated, triggered, inspired by outside influences that just pop new brilliant ideas into our heads, especially ones that will help us grow and improve and kind of really capitalize on the new opportunities that we're able to go out in the world and actually create for ourselves, and just kind of compounding this particular energy with all that's going on under the peak energy of the full moon. We're definitely seeing a lot of doors to the past close and a lot of doors to the future actually open up, and it starts in our mental plane. The moon will go ahead and bump into Mr. Uranus, who is in this Taurus energy. This provides us with a little bit of a learning opportunity, seeing a crossroads, seeing new information, new details emerge. And maybe it's not new information and details. Maybe it is a new perspective, a new perception, a new understanding to old information and old details. Regardless, there's an epiphany, there's an aha moment. We are kind of sitting in the confusion of the full moon energy. But again, we know that confusion is the precursor to clarity. So we want to lean all the way into that. And Uranus is highlighting for us, especially in this Taurus energy, where in our physical realms, routines, relationships, money matters, we have to be open to doing things a little bit more differently and really kind of seeing where it is that a dramatic shift, a dramatic change is definitely needed. The moon will interact with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who of course is in Pisces energy. This isn't a good interaction, nor is it a bad interaction. It is an interaction that will allow us to see both sides of the coin, which Libran energy is super good for anyways. Now keep in mind, Mr. Saturn over here, he rules over structures and foundations, and he's currently showing us in this Pisces energy where it is that we have to strip away the old structures, the old foundations, especially where our beliefs are concerned, where our dreams are concerned, where our healing, transformation is concerned, where we have to strip that away, get down to the bare bones before we actually know what we're working with. And therefore, in approximately the second year of Saturn's transit through Piscean energy, we will have a cleaner slate than we currently do right now to kind of get actively building and working on something new. This is the deconstruction phase of this particular chapter, and it really starts with the delusions, the lies, the fantasies that we tell ourselves, and kind of strip that away and leave what is real and raw and vulnerable left on the table. And from that, we can figure out what needs to be built in order to get us from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. The moon will make a very positive and harmonious aspect with Venus, the ruler of this full moon in Libra. Of course, Venus is in her other place of power in Taurus energy, offering us a little bit of a grounding energy for us to take in the current situation and circumstances of our lives and really evaluate who and what is making us happy, providing us with a sense of safety and security, really supporting and encouraging us to move forward. This is a positive energy, so we emotionally are really identifying what it is that we are building in our lives to create solid foundations in our day-to-day life, in our relationship, in our money matters, where not only do we feel safe, secure, and stable, but where we're actually enjoying ourselves. My goodness, we really do have to work a little bit harder to create a sense of happiness and joy and pleasure in each and every single day. And that is exactly what Venus is here to illuminate us to. What do we have to build? What do we have to create? The moon goes into a direct opposition with Jupiter. So under the full moon, we have Jupiter, the Sun, and Chiron all within orb. They're all within a certain degree of each other, which kind of meshes, all of their energies together. Granted, we have Jupiter a little bit stepped away from the Sun and Chiron. And so the moon, as the moon is moving through the degrees of Libran energy, becomes into a direct opposition with Mr. Jupiter. And so this is going to be very polarizing for a couple of reasons. First of all, we're under a full moon, so there is an expectation that some not so nice thoughts and feelings should rise to the surface for our acknowledgement and integration. And just as quick as the not so nice thoughts and feelings come on, we're able to kind of focus ourselves and orient ourselves to the positives. Keep in mind that the Libran energy likes to stay in the shallow end of our thoughts and our emotions and has the tendency to be a little bit of an optimist when it comes to coaching other people. However, Libran energy does kind of fail in trying to boost our own selves up. We're really good at showing up for other people in Libran energy, not so great for showing up for ourselves. And so we do have the opportunity here to really see where Jupiter is going to magnify some of the topics and themes that this full moon in Libra is supposed to illuminate for us, but he is going to turn the volume all the way up on whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling. And it's a high probability that our thoughts and our emotions are not in the best place. Now, just keep in mind that Jupiter, who is about growth and expansion, is here to magnify the not so nice thoughts and feels within us in order for us to recognize where growth, where healing is needed the most. The moon will make an interaction with Venus once again, this time, not such a great one. And shortly thereafter, make the same kind of interaction, again, not the nicest one, with Neptune. And of course, if you downloaded your moon guide, you would know that Venus and Neptune are in a harmonizing type of situation under this full moon event. You can dive into the moon guide to see what that means for you. But right now, we're being offered an opportunity to kind of stay in the present moment. Again, Venus and Taurus energy. Really take stock, take inventory of what is working, what isn't, especially in the realm of stability, safety, security, happiness, joy, and pleasure, where our relationships are kind of concerned. And then we're like giving ourselves permission to dip into la la land. That's that Neptune energy. And so we can kind of examine in our here and now what isn't so good, what isn't so enjoyable, what isn't so safe and secure. And then we give ourselves permission to float off into la la land, kind of fantasize what it is that would be better as far as circumstances go in our current lives and what we could come up with as far as an alternative goes on what we would prefer to be experiencing over the circumstances that we're not so happy with. So there is this element where it's like almost too much to stay in this present moment. And then we check out, we disassociate, we move into la la land, we fantasize, we do all that. And then we pop back into the physical body and really kind of see where it is that we can bring some of these imaginary aspects into our physical realm and create a permanent reality based off of them.